Do 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 do. You know the song? Pretty Woman.
Are we live?
We're live.
Oh,
Hey, Inspired Tribe, how's it going? Inspired Tribe. We're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, and we're free. Welcome to the Inspired Livestream on the Inspired channel. My name is Bond, James Bond. My name is Jean Nolan. This is Kristin Nolan. You can't see her. She's on the other side of that camera, and we're excited to be with you. Remember, we're healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free, and we're excited to get together on this beautiful Wednesday, February 10th, 2020, WON1. 2020, WON. We won. So how are you? Okay, we're already on the humorous side of things. What's happening?
you said we won.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course we won.
yeah.
Yeah, she.
I just laughed about it.
Okay,
It-
So-
it's really smooth.
smooth, right?
Mhm.
Smooth. Inspired Tribe, as you can see, we're having a good time over here. Let me welcome you all. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being with us, for sending us emails and messages and comments and texts and telegrams and posts. Yeah, telegrams on Telegram. And it's a really a beautiful start to this year. And we're enjoying to connect with all of the new tribe members that are with us. So welcome the originals, Tribesters. Hey, Emma, Agnieszka, Illy, Lindsay. Hey, everyone. So good to see you guys. And everyone who's tuning in, please, as soon as you tune in, do us a favor, hit the like button. And then next thing, let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from on this beautiful planet, what country. It's always great to see. We are, I think we're now represented really well across the globe on all continents. We have all time zones. We have people tuning in at 4 a.m. from Australia. We have people tuning in from India, people tuning in from all parts of the globe, and we all love you.
Virgin Islands.
Virgin Islands, yes. There's some parts where we get to smile in a lot. So today's topic, Inspired Tribe, is big signs. Are you paying attention? And today's all about you. Yeah, capital U, YOU. And what signs are we talking about here? So lately, especially lately, and when I say lately, it's kind of the past years, of course, but especially in the past months, you all have been hearing this term being thrown around like hot potatoes, and the term is awakening. And everyone's talking about the awakening. Everyone's feeling I'm waking up. I am awakened. Another version of that, which we hear a lot, is woke. Which the woke is kind of has a different feel to it, has a different meaning, maybe in pop culture. But let's stick with the awakening, spiritual awakening. What does it mean? And how do you know that it's happening to you? Because believe it or not, throughout our courses and calls and all the beautiful ways that we interact with you guys, we hear this a lot, is like, is this part of my spiritual awakening? Because some of these signs are unexpected. They are sometimes disturbing, even at some points. They're sometimes a little unsettling or uncomfortable. At other times, they're really amazing. They're like these absolutely tremendous experiences that show us a new dimension of life. And so we want to dive a little bit into the signs, how you kind of know that it's happening, and also a little bit as an affirmation, as a maybe to reaffirm that, you are on your path. It is happening and things are unfolding and you are truly awakening. And so we'll kind of go through a little bit of a list. We usually don't do that, but I thought it would be a cool thing to go a little bit through the signs that this is really happening. And one of the things, and we do this together here on the Inspired channel during the live streams, is a big sign that you are in this awakening process or awakened, is that you're questioning your reality and your decisions. You're looking, not just looking forward your decisions, but you're actually looking back and you are wondering, what decisions have I made in my life and why have I made them? And you're also looking around you and you're beginning to question stuff that you haven't questioned before. There's a reason for that. Curiosity is one, but it's way beyond curiosity. If you begin questioning stuff that you have never thought about questioning, it's because there's a deeper awakening happening within you. Actually, what's really happening is you're beginning to see it through new eyes. And this isn't just if kind of a figure speech, because you really have another sense that functions as an eye that before this awakening it's asleep. It's literally dormant. It's closed, and that's the spiritual eye, the third eye. It's somewhere around here. That's the center. Some people call it the pineal gland, and the name really doesn't matter. It just means that an additional, a more dimensional, not just three-dimensional, multi-dimensional sense is being awakened. So if you see yourself, feel yourself, and observe yourself questioning things more than ever before, even truths that you thought were kind of written in stone, but now you're like, maybe it isn't so, maybe it's different. This is really a big sign that there's something within you awakening. Now let me this is probably the whopper. I should probably say this at the end of this, but let me tell you this. This is irreversible. This process cannot be reversed. It's not like other stuff where you go, I'm going to try this on for size, and if I don't like it, I'm going to just put it back on the rack here. It doesn't work like that. The spiritual awakening is happening, and when it's unfolding, there's really nothing you can do to go back. You can try to ignore it, but it's going to be painful. So that is really a good thing, because it means that once it begins, it just keeps rolling. And the more you allow it, the more you add an intention, and the more purpose you give to it, the smoother it unfolds. Now, another really strong sign, and this is kind of a given, is that you're feeling a stronger and stronger connection to source, whatever that means to you, whether that's, you call it God, whether you call it universe, whether you call it source, whatever name you give it. You could give it the name water. It doesn't matter. But if you are finding yourself feeling this presence more often in your life, feeling this guidance more often, or having the desire to feel it more often, if this becomes important in your life, and it might not have been as important before, this is a sign of your spiritual awakening. And when we say spiritual awakening, this is, again, not just an analogy. It is really, even physically, parts of your brain, parts of your whole body that are dormant or not functioning are awakening. And same, of course, with your non-physical body, you are connecting to that more and more. So this is a really strong sign that this becomes important. As a matter of fact, the longer you are in this journey, it doesn't just become more important, it becomes most important. And if you will begin eventually to look for source in everyone around you, because it has to be a part of them, because that's what they came from. So you look for source in others too. And that's all of these connections, and new and more intense connections, are a big sign that you are spiritually awakening. Another really big sign, and we've been talking about this a lot, not just in the live streams, all across our courses and programs, is seeking authenticity in all areas of your life. And what does that mean, seeking authenticity? Well, I want to give you kind of a little bit of a mind blower here. So, when you look in your wallet and when you pull out that little thing that you call driver's license, or any other form of plastic card that has your name on it and date of birth and stuff, what do you call that? What do you call that? I'm curious. I'm actually curious. What do you call this little plastic card that has your name and birth date and all that stuff on it? I'm trying to make a point here, of course. I'm not just saying this for shits and giggles. So what do you call that little plastic thing in your wallet that has your picture, your name, and all of that on it? Here you go. So Emma says identity card, and someone else says identity. Yeah, so ID is the short for that. But what does identity mean? Identification. It means that if you identify with something, there has to be at least a second part to it, right? You identify with something. And so when you look at this, when you look at your name and when you look at the data around the person, then people call this your identity. Now, if you step into your own power, you're not discovering your identity, you're discovering your authenticity. And when something is authentic, what does that mean? It means there's only one of it. Authenticity is original, it's just one. Identity already says there's at least two, something to identify with. This is a deeper topic, but it explains the word authenticity a little better. And authenticity means it is real, it is original, it is it has a feeling of non-conflict to it, contrast to it. Authenticity is. It cannot really be debated. And that's the beautiful thing about it. When you start experiencing your true authentic self, which is only you and within you, it is very, very fulfilling, more so than satisfying. Satisfying is kind of a fleeting feeling. It comes and goes, but fulfillment is when you begin living your true authentic self. And when you begin to crave that more and more and more, I want to be true to myself. How often do you hear people say that? I want to stay true to myself. This is authenticity. But also, you want other areas of your life to be authentic as well. So you look at your relationships, you want to be more authentic with your relationships. You want to be more authentic in your job or profession or whatever you want to call that. So this desire to be authentic and live that and experience that is a very, very clear sign that you are spiritually awakening. And it feels really, really good. I made a little cheat sheet here because I really wanted to go through those because there's so many beautiful points and so many beautiful signs. I just wanted to make sure we're getting through some of the best ones. Another really cool sign is that you're slowly but surely losing your fear of death. And again, we want to define death because in most human cultures, it's kind of a belief to be a real thing, that something, your life can actually end. Now, while your expression in this body definitely in this particular way can come to an end when the body is no longer functioning and you're exiting this body in itself will cease to exist the way it does. But the authentic you, which we just spoke about, will never cease to exist. It's eternal life, it's eternal soul, eternal being. And so as soon as you begin to realize that, as soon as you feel a stronger connection to source and with source, you're also beginning to automatically lose your fear of death because you realize it is not real. It doesn't really exist. It's another really, really good sign. And even if it's not completely gone yet, even if you still have, a little bit of fear left, or if you still feel uncomfortable about some aspects of this experience that others describe as death, we could call it transition, we could call it transformation, we could call it journey. I love the word journey. When the Native Americans, and they say, he or she made his or her journey. Beautiful way to say it. But if you begin losing that fear, or if it begins to lessen, or if you have already completely let go of that fear, then you are experiencing a tremendous amount of freedom. And this is part of the spiritual awakening journey. And if this is something that you're particularly concerned with, something that is on your mind or has been on your mind, a really wonderful book, and please read it all the way to the end, it's really important, is Anita Moorjani's Dying to Be Me. A very beautiful and absolutely transforming reading experience. So just be warned, the first third half of the book is a quite quite heavy to read, but it shifts. And this is really important. This is part of the reading experience. So it's Anita Moorjani's Dying to Be Me. Go look it up. A wonderful, wonderful book, especially with the topic of around quote unquote death and eternal life. So another big sign is that you're beginning to look at material stuff in different ways. It doesn't mean that you're losing your desire to live in a beautiful space or travel or have a beautiful car or have abundance, but you're detaching from the need of constantly feeding this kind of desire for new material stuff, for it to be the source of your fulfillment, for it to be the source of your satisfaction. It becomes something that comes into your experience more effortlessly, more easily, and something that you enjoy to use while you use it. But this sense of needing to own stuff, needing to collect stuff, and needing to have it around you all the time, and just in general, a lot of attention to material stuff. If that begins to lessen, and if you begin to be more playful about it, and it's more like a joyous experience rather than a need, then that's a really, really strong sign that there's the spiritual body within you is becoming more dominant. And this just becomes another aspect of your life rather than the ruling aspect, which you can see in a lot of people. They are ruled by the need for always new stuff. They're almost addicted to the experience of new clothes, new car, new everything all the time. And it's always a very fleeting experience. It's short-lived, and the more you do it, the shorter lived the satisfaction. So another sign is you're becoming more authentic in that relationship to stuff, and you might enjoy using it, you might enjoy experiencing it, but you don't define yourself through materialism, through materialistic stuff. Really, really a liberating process when you go through it. Very, very freeing, and usually, ironically so, it leads to more access to material stuff. Usually, the less you crave it, the more it starts showing up. But of course, this. Being on this journey, you've experienced this before. Another really, 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 really clear sign is, and we see this within all of you and within everyone we work with, is a deeper and greater desire for well-being, not just for yourself, but well-being for everyone. Basically, you begin living life and looking at life more as as an experience that is a win-win for everyone, if you will. You say, rather than, oh, I just hope stuff really works out for me, say, I want the best for me and everyone, or I want things to come to me in a way that's best for me and everyone. And that's really, to desire well-being for yourself is kind of a natural thing, of course. I mean, even our egos do that all the time. But from a more spiritual standpoint, it is a beautiful thing to want to share in that well-being and to desire for others to experience it too. And, to do your part that you can to inspire others, help others, share it with others. This is a really, really big sign. It's when you step out of the I mentality and you see that it is a shared experience on this planet that we have. And it's when only there's this beautiful, I'm paraphrasing here, but there's this beautiful quote that only he who loves knows how to become rich while giving gifts to others. And this is the process. Then you become rich in the process of giving just as much, if not more, as in the process of receiving. It's a very beautiful thing. And for those of you who have children, for those of you who have this experience, whether that's a birthday or a Christmas or whatever, there's nothing as beautiful as giving a gift from your heart to your child and seeing the joy and the excitement and all of that. And you become rich in the process, even though materially speaking, you're giving it away, but you become rich in the process. And if that's a desire for you and to experience well-being and for everyone else to experience it too, that's a really, really beautiful sign that you are a spiritually awake being. Another thing that you will notice and have noticed, and it'll become stronger, faster, more in a very short period of time now, is you are maybe developing or rediscovering or discovering new talents, new strengths within you. Maybe you are becoming sharper. Your observation skills are becoming sharper. Maybe your intuitive skills are becoming sharper. Maybe you notice that you are really artistic and that you are really creative. Maybe you notice that you're really good at helping people. These skills, all of a sudden, as you awaken your spiritual being, these things are not as much, they're not traditional learning. They're almost like remembering. It's a different thing. Is in a traditional sense, learning is you're looking at a discipline, you're looking at a technique, you're looking at a subject, and you're reading about it, you're watching videos on it, you're getting educated on it, you collect knowledge, and then you are able to recite that knowledge or pass it on. This is a traditional sense of learning. What we're talking about here is becoming aware of this talent that's already within you, and it's almost like jumping out of you the more you are allowing it. Maybe you have the ability to channel. Maybe you have a really strong ability to hear messages from the divine field. All of these things are really, really strong signs that you're spiritually awakening. Also, another really, really big sign is that you're craving, really craving, desiring deeper, more meaningful interactions with others. You are past the chit chat, you're past the small talk, you're not interested in shallow conversations. Your tolerance is probably a lot lower than it used to be, which means is when you go and you meet people, and this is this, unimportant, almost nonsensical, looking for topics that don't matter to anyone, and your tolerance for that is very low, but your desire for a deeper connection is much stronger, which might lead to unexpected experiences. You might be at the coffee shop and connect with a stranger in a very deep level in a very short period of time, just because you are emanating this new energy. You are curious, but not from an egotistical standpoint. You want to get to know this other being around you. You are craving the exchange of really meaningful words, stories. You want a shared experience with others on a deeper level. Sometimes that's meditating with each other. Sometimes that's being quiet with each other. Sometimes it's a really wonderful conversation. And it's not limited to people that you know, and it usually happens faster with people that you don't know. So these are all kind of really, really, really big signs. And this craving for deeper experiences is all across the board. As a matter of fact, this questioning of the old reality is then replaced by this desire to understand more and deeper, which leads us to another really huge sign. You have no tolerance in this process of spiritual awakening. Your tolerance for BS, for bullshit is really, really low, but your desire for truth and authenticity, as we said before, for truth is really, really high. So you maybe find yourself researching something, you find yourself reading up on something, you find yourself diving deep into the so-called rabbit holes, and really looking for the truth. That becomes really, really important. And even though you might not always find it right away, even though you might feel like you are traveling to it rather than having arrived at it, in the process you're not accepting lies anymore. You're not accepting half-truths anymore. You're not going along with that anymore, because it doesn't feel authentic. It doesn't feel good. You don't feel aligned with it. And your body's physically reacting, because this is another sign of a spiritual awakening, is that your body begins to react to everything that's not authentic and to everything that's a lie. And you begin to feel, strong headaches, or you're really dizzy, or your energy level goes down, you're depleted. All these things happen because you have no tolerance for that anymore. And you might say, but that's a bad thing. I need to be able to withstand that. And you are in the process of learning how to deal with these things. But this is really important because it sharpens you, it sharpens your intuition. You become very clear about what is truthful, what is authentic, and what isn't. And so this is a huge sign as well. And I'm almost certain that you're experiencing at least, half of these signs, if not all of them, on some level. And I can almost hear you say, yeah, this is me. This is me. Yeah, this is me too. Oh my God, yeah, this is me. Oh God, how did you know? This is me. Like this morning, this happened. It's because there's a reason you're here. You wouldn't be tuning into the Inspired Livestream if none of this would apply to you, of course. But on the flip side, we are on this journey, and sometimes we're quieter, we're more alone, especially in these times. People have less social contact, so sometimes you might feel like you're either going crazy or you're becoming strange, you're not fitting in anymore. None of that's a bad thing, but it can look like that if you've been by yourself for a while, which on the other side is another sign of your spiritual awakening, is that you desire more alone time, you desire more reflection time, you want to maybe be more in nature, you want to be more quiet, you want to meditate more. You begin losing interest in the the pop cultural stuff that is here today, gone tomorrow stuff. It's maybe even kind of like, okay, maybe you've always kept up with the latest fashion, it's just not as interesting to you anymore. All these things are really, really clear signs. And this being or becoming comfortable with being alone and actually desiring to be alone more or be in a quiet space more, it's another really, really big sign, because this allows you to not just reflect but connect and experience this connection to source, to God. So these are all really, really powerful things. Now, if you align with these signs, but also say, but some of them feel uncomfortable, or some of it feels negative sometimes, or some of it feels not so good, rest assured it's the same for the people around you, because these are processes of making a realization, which at the same time means, well, if I understand that this, what I believed before, was not the truth, it's kind of like questioning yourself. Why was I allowing myself to be fooled, or why was I believing a lie? And this is kind of some of these things are a little bit uncomfortable for a little while, but it's okay. Allow yourself to release the judgment, be proud of yourself, or be appreciative, of your process, and for taking these steps, for allowing yourself to see it, for allowing yourself to go down this path, and also to sometimes accept that some of it just doesn't feel good in the moment. And a lot of times, if we try to push that away, it just sticks around longer. Whereas if we can accept the moment, this is it right now, I'm okay with this, I'm allowing this, there's nothing I can do right now but accept it. In this acceptance of this discomfort, there's already relief. And this will happen, because while these signs, you might have experienced all of them, you might do a whole second round and go even deeper, or a third round and go deeper. And this will continue to happen. This is kind of the enlightenment evolution process. And it's beautiful, because there's so much magic if you step into this real authentic place that you are. There's so much potential there. There's limitless potential. And it only happens when you allow it. If you keep kind of pushing yourself back, kind of tell yourself you have to be in line, you have to fit in with the crowd, it won't work anymore. You will have physical reactions, you will have mental reactions. It just doesn't work. Once you experience authenticity, you can't go back to the other stuff. And it's a beautiful thing sometimes to connect with others, to share some experiences, maybe to meditate together, but to reach out and see how many people are experiencing similar things than you are right now. And you'd be surprised. You might have gone to the same butcher for 10 years and you thought it's just a friendly guy that gives me my pork chops. But all of a sudden, you might find yourself having the deepest conversation with Carl the Butcher, because you never knew that he had deep thoughts. You never knew that he is a spiritually awakened being too. These things are happening in all walks of life to all people. It's the quality of our time, and it's ever expanding, always increasing. So that's a beautiful thing. And there's absolutely nothing to be fearful about, because all the good stuff lies on the other side of fear. All the really magical stuff begins when you allow yourself to become who you were always meant to be. And so this list is not complete, but it's a very good overview of what is happening and what it means. And we'd be curious to hear if you have other experiences, other signs that you are observing. Send us an email or send us comments. Let us know. It's always wonderful to hear what you're experiencing and how it feels for you, Inspired Tribe. Now, let me go a little bit through the comments.
Deep Diver is asking, can you please say a sign of knowing something?
Well, this is actually a really, really good question. And there's a good way. There are two ways to
He said, I get a sense of knowing something on a deep level, but doubt the knowing from time to time.
Very good question. So let's take a step back where it starts. It starts with an intuition, which if this knowing that you have is part of a long thought process that you've had, something that you've pondered in your mind, chances are that it's not completely complete yet. But if, for example, a good sign is that you might be facing a challenge, a problem, or you might be looking at something that doesn't affect you, and then you just kind of go about your day, and all of a sudden you get this idea, this thought that you can't even tell where it came from all of a sudden, but it gives you a clearer image. This is usually a very, very clear sign that you're receiving thought, receiving ideas, receiving solutions, rather than trying to produce them in your mind with your limited, disconnected access. So this is a good sign for knowing. But here's another process, something that you can do. And this is a way where you can include other people without them really knowing that you include them. So let's say that you have a theory, a knowing about something, and you wonder if you're the only one who thinks that. You wonder if you're the only one who feels that way. If you can find a way to put out that information without saying, hey, what do you think about it? Without saying this is coming from you. If you can just kind of spread it all around you and see how people react, and see if they have similar reactions than you have, you can see what the field says about it, because the first authentic reaction of people is usually in line with that knowing. And this is a more sophisticated way that includes others, but it is a tried and proved way to do things. But the first process to do this includes only you, and this is usually where these knowings come from. They're kind of a little bit out of the blue, unexpected. These ideas come. But more importantly, where do you feel it? Is it something that happens just here? Or is it something that you feel in this area? You see, this is the spiritual heart. This is the best filter that we have. And if something feels authentic here, real and authentic, it usually means that it is real and authentic.
He says, it was based on a deep connection I had with a person out of the blue, and got a sense of knowing and a vision with it.
It sounds like you're actually describing a fact. You're not really. It feels like on your deeper authentic level, you're not doubting that. It's just when the mind kicks in and says, well, but maybe I'm just making this stuff up. It sounds like it's really something authentic, without, of course, knowing what it is, but it sounds authentic the way you're describing it. So yeah, let me see.
Ralph is asking a question. I'm not sure if I really know how to meditate except thinking.
So it's a good question, and we haven't talked about it in a little while. We have a lot of live streams on meditation from last year, but so there's a misconception that meditation means to not think at all. And while there are spaces that you move into that feel like no thought at all or very little thought, keep in mind that your mind's job is to think. It was solely created for that purpose, to think. So the first process is to soften that a little bit. We're used to, whether we understand where a thought is coming from, we're used to engaging that thought and adding more to it and observing it, and then thinking more about that, and then subtracting and whatnot. So the first process of meditation is to find a quiet space that you're undisturbed in for maybe, let's say in the beginning, 10 minutes. Let's give yourself a, Christine says, don't be so ambitious. Start with 5. Good. Let's start with 5. Give yourself 5 minutes and even set a timer for 7 minutes. It's going to take you 2 to stop thinking about the 5 minutes. So set a timer for 7 minutes. Sit down in a quiet space, somewhere where you're undisturbed for that period of time. Forget postures. Forget crossing your legs. Forget the finger position. Just sit comfortably, up straight but comfortably. It's okay to lean, in the chair. It's totally fine. And maybe it helps you to focus on very, very soft, very mellow music. Nothing with a big rhythm. Nothing with lots of movement. There's a million tracks on YouTube, just meditation music. Pick the track that sounds very similar all the way through. It's just something to keep your mind a little bit occupied. And then what I would do for the 5 minutes is just take deep breaths and focus on your breathing. Take deep conscious breaths. And that's all you do for the 5 minutes, is focus on the breath, how it feels to breathe in the air, how it feels to breathe it out. Nothing more. No expectations as to how this is going to feel, as to what you are to achieve here. It's just becoming a little calm, a little quiet, and just conscious breathing for 5 minutes. And if you do that for a week, 5 minutes a day, maybe in the morning, maybe even 5 in the evening, if you can get to it, maybe, come back and ask again. Let us know how it went for a week. And after a week of doing it, come back to the live stream and ask again, and let us know about your experience. Okay? Don't read up on it. Don't go and research too much about it. Just start with this simple process of calmly breathing for 5 minutes, deep breaths, and just have it a conscious experience. If after a few seconds, a few minutes, you catch yourself losing attention or going off in your mind, it's okay. Just slowly come back. Just allow yourself to come back to your breath. No judgment, no nothing. Just return to this attention here. That's all. Come back next Wednesday, a week from today. Let's talk more about it.
He says, I will try that. Is that connecting to source?
It's a very, very good start, let's say. And we don't know. We don't know because we don't know what's going to happen in your experience.
Every experience
is different and unique. Exactly. So
we're all unique.
Yeah. So your journey is going to be unique. It's just an easy start. And if there's one thing about beginning to meditate, is make it easy. Don't and don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Just allow what happens to happen. It'll be fine. It'll be more than fine. And we'll talk more in a week. Any other questions?
I did not see any other questions other than a few comments on what you were saying, but not questions.
Well, what I always do after the live stream, I sit here after we log off and I go through all the comments, and maybe you feel a wave of warmth and love coming out of the blue a couple minutes after the live stream. It's because I'm appreciating all of your comments so much, just for bringing your spirit to the conversation. Maybe an emoji, maybe a beautiful word, maybe a beautiful sentence. Everything you contribute to this is highly appreciated, and it's a beautiful creationship that we're in. So tomorrow, for the last live stream of the week, we're gonna get juicy with EUCY. What?
And Deep Diver asked, how can we be patient until the knowing is manifested? Any tips?
The breathing thing really works really well for a lot of things. We do this a lot. We do this breathing stuff a lot just because it feels really good. And it's kind of like trying to describe color before you've seen colors, you know? Why? Just go see them. You'll find the experience, and it'll find you. But it's beautiful, beautiful. So tomorrow we'll get juicy with EUCY, which means we're gonna, for those of you who have never experienced this, we're gonna channel our friends from the other side. It's gonna be a Q&A channeling, which means if you have questions for higher consciousness, pretty much disconnected from the human mind. This is really non-physical, not concerned with our daily processes consciousness. Really, really cool. If you have questions, come back tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard. We're going to do a session, and Kristine's going to be with us because she's going to guide the session. And we're going to get juicy with EUCY tomorrow. Other than that, we appreciate, we love you so much. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks for your love, your thoughts, your intentions, your meditations. Thanks for shopping in our Inspired merch store, for joining us for the courses or the membership calls. One's happening this afternoon, late afternoon, early evening, membership call. If you want to learn more about it, check out our website or send us an email, and maybe you'll want to join us. Inspired Tribe, thank you. We love you, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Central Standard, right here on Inspired Channel.